Oh, let me tell you something. Bustin' makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, my friend Allison Smith.
Yay! Thanks for having me.
Thanks for doing this show,
That theme music is
Allison.
so good. The theme music is so good.
I love playing theme music live for people here in the studio. I also love recording at my apartment where there is sounds of iron doors being opened and closed. And that will probably show up on my end, but maybe not on yours. Who knows? Who cares?
Yeah. I will. I might have dogs. I might have random construction sounds. It's LA, so there's always helicopters. You don't know.
There's bigger problems to worry about, though. And one of those problems is The Joker, which is the movie that you wanted to show up and talk about today.
Yeah, the hot garbage incel manifesto that is The Joker.
Now... it's been tough to get people on to talk about this movie. I've had a friend of mine, not close, but a wonderful stand-up comic who I'm a big fan of. She tweeted about right when Joker came out. She said that she saw it in theaters and said that she thinks Joker is the worst movie of all time. And I tweeted at her and I was like, hey, come talk about it on my podcast. Yeah. I would love to have you on. And of course, when she tweeted it, all the incels who love this movie all were sending her just, hate tweets and all the shit that you would expect.
So you're saying I shouldn't do this because people are going to come to my house?
No. What I'm saying is that Megan denied, not denied, but she never came through on being able to do this episode.
Okay. Well, maybe there will be a part two.
I think Joker's a tricky movie to talk about. Hating, because it's already got this crazy stigma about it to begin with as like the choice movie of a very particular kind of internet person.
Sure.
And watching the movie again. Literally right now in this moment. I mean, I was just telling my guest before this, whose episode came out last week with The Dark Knight Rises. I watched The Dark Knight Rises and Joker back to back to prepare for this day of recording. And that is a real nightmarish combo of movies to watch. Because they both take on a weird, different tone right now in this exact moment than they did even when they both came out. Dark Knight Rises came out in 2012. Joker came out last fall. And even back then, there was some weird shit going on, and people were talking about the panic around this movie and the politics around this movie. And watching it now, it's like, oh, there's some other whole extra layer that I hadn't even thought about until you brought it up to rewatch it. So all that's to say is I'm glad that you're the one who's finally busting out and ready to talk about The Joker.
People Allison, told me to watch it. People that I trusted.
Yeah.
Other people who are like people of color that do social work and are very reasonable people were like, you got to watch this. And I knew I would hate it. And then I hated it.
So let me ask, what is your experience like watching the movie? Did you see it very recently? Did you see it in theaters?
So when it came out in theaters, I knew I wasn't going to like it. And so I waited for it to come out on like Amazon. And then I watched it at home with my boyfriend, who was like, this is fun, And I was like, I hate it. And then I think today I threw it on. I watched like the first half again and was just also hating it. So it's
interesting. If you had to pick your sort of your grand thesis about why you don't like this movie, why you hate it so much that you're going on record, what you got for me, Allison?
I think my main thing is just it doesn't need to exist at all. It doesn't add anything useful to any conversation or develop anything in a way that matters at all. And I think it hides that in pretending that, like, there's something you're missing. I feel like people that like the Joker probably also are like, but what was going on with Inception? Like, still today. Like, it's like, I think it leaves enough blank space that you fill it in assuming that what's in that space is something intelligent that's not.
Yeah, okay.
It's just a perspective that no one needs to explore and that everyone already understands and that doesn't require any effort at all. Like, it's not, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand why it exists at all.
Okay. Interesting. I think, I'll say this right off the bat. I'm not a huge fan of this movie.
Yeah.
But I definitely like it more than you do.
Sure. Because
I like it at all, and it doesn't seem like you like it at all, which is totally a fair and reasonable assessment. But I am, having watched it again, fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
The thing that stuck out to me when I first watched it in theaters is the thing that was even more in focus now, which is this movie is a blank canvas for people to throw themselves into watching Joaquin Phoenix playing a mentally ill person. And then you watch that and you go, oh, I'm mentally ill and nobody understands me either. I am also the Joker. I deserve to have some sort of I deserve all these things.
Right.
And I can see why it resonates with people on that sense, even though it's too broad and it's not the way to get people on board with the character.
It's 100% only about entitlement. So if he doesn't feel entitled to certain things above other people, then there is no movie, right? So it's, but he was supposed to be an heir and he should have the right to having all these things in life. He walks by people next to him all day that don't have those things and don't act like that. But he's, oh no, the world's out to get me. I lost my job. Like, why did you lose your job? You brought a gun into a children's hospital. Like, you should lose your job. Like, yeah, you're not. No one's out to get you, really. You know,
right?
And it wraps itself in this thing that, like, oh, it's really about classism and it's this thoughtful thing about, but it's not really. And you also don't have, like, classism without racism, which is heavy in the film, but also never directly addressed in the film.
The classism and racism ties, you mean?
They'll talk about classism. They're like, we're out to get the rich, or it's the rich versus poor dynamic. Right. But the way that they show that he's poor is just his proximity to black people. Like, they're like, he must really have it bad because look, and he's like, his mom.
Yeah, look who his social worker is, right? Look who the person who he talks to at the mental hospital is.
Right. Well, and his mom's like, you need to write this rich man because he'd see how we're living. It's like, you live in an apartment building filled with other people who also are living that way. They don't feel like, you're not the only person who lives this way. You're the only person who feels you're entitled not to.
Right. There's it's occurring to me now that it's like the people in this movie are it's mentally ill, entitled white people, and then just like normal black people who are living their sort of everyday lives. Right. I think. Yeah. It's just like that's the context is like they're on the same level, and that's not okay, white people.
Right. And it's like the issue of like blackness in this movie is so weird because it's like these women with these like weird helper roles. I don't know. We just got rid of the Aunt Jemima bottle, so maybe we'll get rid of that trope as well. But they're just like, don't talk to my baby on the bus. Like, please don't, which is very reasonable. Like, no one is like discriminating against him. Like, they're actually being quite nice and patient. And no one cares about what's happening to them at all. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's bizarre. And then also, like, his personality is, like, not fleshed out. I don't think that this was good acting. I'll just say that, period.
Ooh, that is a hot take.
I'll go for it. I just don't. Like, first of all, so he's like this hapless guy and he wants stuff and he's like stalking people, but it's like fine. And then at some point he just like becomes really violent, but there's no transition or thought process at all. Very weird. That's not how mental illness works at all.
Yeah, they talk about some sort of like vague, oh, he went off his medication. Oh, he went to the mental hospital and he like read the truth about his mom being like in a mental hospital.
Right.
But it puts down on the gas pedal and goes very quickly in this direction.
Right. With really nothing. Yeah, it's bizarre. The development of this entire movie makes no sense at all.
I want to know, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
About the acting, about Joaquin Phoenix's performance.
Yeah.
Because I will say, I am not a fan of the fact that Joaquin Phoenix won Best Actor for this movie. I think he's put on better performances and been nominated for better performances in other movies than what he did in Joker. And I still think that this is clearly a Joaquin Phoenix showcase. This is the movie that was going to wind up winning him the Oscar one way or another. But he's better in The Master. He's better in You Were Never Really Here. He's putting on a more layered, nuanced performance. And this, he's doing the thing where it's like, oh, he got really skinny and he's acting like a crazy person. So let's give him... They've just got best weight gain or weight loss.
Thank you. Christian Bale won that award long ago, that the ability to gain and lose weight was acting. It isn't. No one cares.
Yeah. What's his... Gary Oldman just did that for Darkest Hour. Cool. He gained weight. Great job.
I don't know. I don't get it. And it's like, we get it. Like, you made your bones look weird. Like, you're already a weird-looking guy. Like, you think having a cleft lip is a personality. Like, we get it. That's not dancing either. Like, we get it. Like, I don't know. It's not... Well, and the biggest thing about this is that, specifically because it's Joaquin Phoenix, right? It's Joaquin Phoenix playing himself. So it's not acting at all. Like, he does have that weird, jarring speech pattern. That's just his speech pattern. That's not a thing he learned to do. And if you've ever seen I'm Still Here, the documentary that he made about himself pretending to lose his mind.
Yeah.
It's the exact same role. In fact, I think that was better written. It's the same. So how do you get Best Actor for playing what you already called yourself, acting poorly as yourself?
I think... At this point, I mean, the only thing that's the right thing to do for this episode is we got to watch the Joker trailer first, and then let's watch a clip from I'm Still Here.
Okay. It's the same role.
I remember I'm Still Here coming out. I've never seen it. But I remember when he did the interview on Letterman, and everybody was like, what the fuck is he doing?
Right.
And I remember when the Joker trailer came out, I was like, okay, yeah, this is clearly doing a thing. I love Joaquin Phoenix. He's probably going to get nominated for and win. And then the conversation around the Joker is something I would also like to talk about. But let's go ahead and let's get some screen share going. And let's watch. Let's get Joker-fied. So this is the final Joker trailer.
Okay.
And let's chat about it as it plays. Okay. So there's our boy Joaquin.
Okay.
Making faces.
Harassing black children.
Yeah.
Can you please stop bothering my kid?
Please do.
Sorry.
Arthur, I have some bad news for you. This is the last time.
Creepy, gritty.
Yeah.
You don't listen, do you? You just ask the same questions every week. How's your job? Are you having any negative thoughts? All I have are negative thoughts.
world where everyone thinks they can do my job, check out this guy.
When I was a little boy and told people I was going to be a comedian, everyone laughed at me. Well, no one's laughing now.
You can say that again, pal.
Yeah. It's not a good joke.
It's not even a joke.
Correct.
It's like a sub joke book level joke.
I don't like the tongue cane thing, I'll tell you that right now. I don't like it at all.
My whole life, I didn't know if I even really existed. But I do. And people are starting to notice.
Think this is
That
funny?
didn't happen.
That's fake.
Is this a joke to you?
Good.
Murray, one small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
Mark Maron was good in this, though.
Send in the clowns.
And these weird dances.
Okay. Like, okay. Nothing
Okay.
happened. Nothing. There was nothing, you know?
That's a trailer for you. You know, it's just okay. Yeah, we showed him being weird. We
Right.
showed him being the Joker. We have some gritty stuff. But now we have to watch the flip side, which I think is a point that I can't wait to see the fruition of this point.
Let's just have fun. And I also want to caveat this with, for anyone who's like, well, maybe it's really about social justice and they use this character to like relate. Well, and it's the reverse of what you think it is. It's not. And so I think this will show that this is just a guy who doesn't care and feels entitled to do whatever with his time and with other people's time.
So this is a clip that you specifically requested called "Calling Hookers" from I'm Still Here.
I'll argue that anything from that is the same film. But yes.
Let's watch.
Hey, honey. My name's Anthony. I was looking for a little bit of company. Ooh, shit. Oh, shit. I want to smell her butthole. Dude, if you do nothing else for me, let me smell a girl's butthole, you fucking asshole. No, you can't call. You're a fucking idiot, dude. Why are you hovering over me? Oh, Brooke. Brooke. Oh, shit, look at this. Oh, Leela, you dirty fucking little bitch. Leela, you dirty little fucking bitch. Oh, Leela, you fucking have no idea. Yes, I was calling for Tiffany.
Look at that
So
gut.
two girls for $6.
So without the laugh, obviously.
Yeah, he's not doing the Joker laugh. Oh, there we go. Now there's the Joker laugh.
There you go.
Because you didn't score it. I scored it and I stashed it. You fucking idiot. You've done nothing for me. Oh shit, dude.
Now-
Who was the nigger in charge over here? Who was the nigger in charge? Don't look at it, dude. Don't look at it. No, bitch, I got a whole lot. You know what? I already have to shit. So why don't you go fucking lay down and assume the position, since you're the one that's gonna be the receptacle of my duty.
Dropping N-bombs, talking about smelling buttholes.
When you're old and your kids see this, you're gonna be so fucking ashamed of yourself because of the opportunities that were provided, the fun, literally just to fucking hang out, the fun that we have, and you fucked it up because you're an idiot.
Cool.
So we have. I think I gotta watch all of I'm Still Here now.
You may as well. I remember I watched it at the time, and it's funny. I think Joaquin Phoenix has always thought he's more famous than he is. Like, I think he thinks he's like DiCaprio just because he knows DiCaprio.
Right.
But he's not. You know, he's just not.
It's one of those things where I think Joaquin Phoenix sort of, he hit this status in the early 2000s after Gladiator and a couple other movies where he's clearly a good actor, right? He can do the acting thing. He's the method guy. He's getting real deep into the roles, and then once Daniel Day-Lewis is off the fucking table, then it's like, all right, well, this is one of our guys who we have left, who's still dedicated to the craft. Yeah. Oh, he made a whole movie where he gave up his life persona for a year and went crazy on camera.
Yeah, whatever. This method, it's like it's his excuse to be like abusive to people. And then he's like, but it's because it's the craft. Like, if you can't act, acting means just acting. If you have to change your entire lifestyle to be able to act, then you're not a very good actor. And I'll say that on the record.
I mean, as far as acting goes, if you're gonna be the Joker, you're a fucking insane person as it is. If you're gonna play a method version of the Joker, I mean, it killed Heath Ledger, and then Jared Leto just used it to send like used condoms and dead animals to his co-stars. Like, these are not mentally healthy individuals. Right. And they're adding a layer of like, oh, I'm going to play this crazy damaged person. That's going to go great.
But I think it's because you wanted to anyway. You wanted to do those things anyway. And you wanted to do this role because you knew it would let you just be abusive. Like, that's what I think. I don't think it's that deep. Because here's the thing. He clearly didn't research, right? He went into his mind what he thinks a crazy person is. And then he did that. And then refused to leave it at night. But like...
there's some stuff where I remember like the laughing thing, right? The laughing psychosomatic laughter thing is a condition that like I had never heard of as a thing until this movie came out, and he was like, yeah, I researched and this is this thing that happens. For all I know, he made it the fuck up just so he could have like, all right, this is my excuse for why we should sympathize with this guy, because oh poor baby, he can't control his laughter. Like, listen, I've had a hard time. I laugh in awkward situations.
Me too.
That's my response to things.
It's tough. Sit down next to me at a funeral. It's tough.
Yeah. Oh my God. I've gotten so much shit from people at funerals because I laugh and nervously like make a joke.
Yeah.
About something, and people are like, "Come on, dude." But I'm not out loud laughing like a maniac.
Right.
Because it's one of those things that like it doesn't even seem like it's a thing. It's a comic book level of mental disease.
Because people have like all kinds of like Tourette's and tics and things. Like, of course. But even the way that it is in the movie, and I get that the whole point is like, and again, I feel like this is an easy out. Can you really trust his version or not? So that anything that doesn't make sense, they can say, oh, well, he's not reliable. So now you can't say that the movie doesn't make sense. And we had this little escape hatch all along. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't follow any kind of consistency.
Right.
That would make sense. He's not doing it just when he's talking to his mom or whatever. He's not doing it,
Yeah. I think there's something to be said about the way that people reacted after the fact too, where I had friends of mine who said the same thing that you just brought up, which is that, oh, this movie all takes place inside Arthur's mind. He's not actually the Joker. So we can just, we can just let this movie be a thing and just let it slide. And who cares about what actually happened in it? If that's your excuse for the movie, you're writing off your entire reason for watching it.
Right.
This ain't fucking Vanilla Sky or Mulholland Drive. Like, we're not living in some dream. This isn't even Inception, right? Because Inception at least explained what was going on every step of the way.
Over-explained, arguably. Mm-hmm. So anyone that, again, had trouble with that, I don't really... Like, where are they now? They're it's cold.
Right.
Like, what? They just told you.
What I will say about this movie is that like I still watched it yesterday, and I definitely didn't. When I watched it in theaters, I felt sort of uncomfortable, which I think the movie's designed to make you feel discomfort. Like, I don't think this is a movie that you're supposed to watch and enjoy what's going on.
Right.
Like, everything is engaging with this level of like, this is really fucking weird. I don't like the main character. I don't like Arthur. I don't like Murray. I don't like anybody in this movie. There's really, aside from like Zazie Beetz,
she's great,
and she's great.
She should just don't do this. Stay on Atlanta, do amazing work, get out of here. She's
basically the only redeeming character. She's good, exactly. But there's a layer of watching this movie, and then you see the technical elements of the movie, and there's parts of the movie that, like, even though it's a fucking ripoff of Scorsese, which we all, it's well documented that, like, homage out the wazoo to King of Comedy, Mean Streets, Taxi Driver. Yeah, sure. The technical side of it, I still appreciate that, and I still appreciate what. I'll be a Joaquin Phoenix apologist all day, but
you're right.
But there's a layer of like this movie is so close to being just a terrible movie that I can see why there are people who don't like it, because it passed the tipping point for you. Like it's the fulcrum, the seesaw of like, is this movie like good or bad? It already falls off the cliff if you don't think that what's going on in the movie has any sort of, I don't want to say merit, because that doesn't seem like you were mentioning something about the social justice like angle that people were kind of trying to put on on it. I'd like to talk about that a little bit more.
Well,
elaborate.
It's like a false. Again, the movie leaves enough holes that you can try to interpret what you will. I'll make my case that this is not Fight Club. This is not Fight Club. It has a case that it makes. It has a point that it makes. Whether that holds up now or whether you agree with it or not, it's very clear about what it feels like in terms of masculinity, in terms of globalization, in terms of capitalism. Like, what is that struggle? It answers that question. It has a thesis. This movie doesn't have one. And I think it doesn't have one because the people that made it, like Joaquin as well, try to be in that middle all the time, where they want to get away with bad behavior. They don't really want to be accountable, but then they also want to seem like they're really smart and they're onto something no one else knows, and they have secrets. And they never, ever, ever want to make a decision one way or the other. And that's what this movie does, and it's really frustrating. And so today, I didn't know who made this movie, but I was like, I guess I'll go and look at who made this movie.
Oh, you didn't know this was Todd Phillips?
No. I don't really know anyone. Like, I'm not as like up with it as you are in terms of like who makes stuff. So then I was like, oh, that's weird. That he made, I guess, The Hangover and Road Trip and Old School and all, like, whatever that is. Okay, we could talk about that another time. There's plenty in there to be, like, digested. But what he said was, I'm done making those kind of movies, and I went to make The Joker because go try to be funny today with this woke culture. Like, that was his reason that he made this movie.
Yeah.
And I think this movie reeks of that reasoning. And I think it's bizarre to give it any more credit than that and pretend that it has like a deeper meaning than just somebody wanted to be belligerent and offensive, and because they wanted to, which is their right. But let's not pretend it's like deeper than that. I don't think it is. It's
sometimes a movie, like any kind of art, can be a provocation just for the sake of being a provocation.
Sure.
There doesn't have to be a deeper meaning to it.
Right. And I don't like it because he didn't ever want me to like it.
Right.
So I don't. It's like after the 2016 election, I remember everybody, like every news channel, they were like, we got to go to Middle America and we got to go see what these people are thinking. We got to get in their minds and we got to, I know what they're thinking. I don't need to spend every day getting in their mind. Nobody's getting in the minds, of Black Lives Matter or whatever. They're like, terrorists. So it's like we spend just a disproportionate amount of time trying to get in the minds of people who are like, I just hate you. And you're like, okay, well, you hate me. Got it. Get it. Like, what do I need to analyze? It's a weird way to spend my time, I think.
I have a lot of memory about the time when this movie was like, trailers were coming out and people were talking about it too, because there was, in a to a level that I hadn't seen. I don't think in my time being alive around a movie, there was a real moral panic about this movie. Like, people were freaking the fuck out about that this movie even existed. And they were like, people are going to go to movie theaters and shoot them up. There's going to be...
Which they were already doing.
Right. They've been doing it for years.
Yeah. This is the world we live in now. Yeah.
Right. Like, it was so... This movie became like a culture war thing, as opposed to it just being like it furthers this is a provocation for the sake of making a provocative thing, right?
But it wasn't even that provocative. Nobody even did a shooting, so it wasn't even
right. But everybody was hoping
that it wishes it was. It wasn't even that inspiring to the people it was supposed to talk to.
It's not. I don't think it's just Todd Phillips who is hoping that this was going to be a manifesto.
Right.
I think it's everybody else too who's also like, oh yeah, you gotta pinpoint something on this movie. Like, we gotta pin some people acting on behalf of this movie. Like, we have to have that happen. And then it didn't happen.
Right.
And so the movie should, I think, just kind of
fizzle away.
Fade out.
Yeah. Because Birth of a Nation made people join the Klan. They did it. They went and they joined it, and the Klan was revived. So a movie can do that. This movie wasn't good enough to. So I'll say that, Todd Phillips. You wanted to create your little incel uprising, and your movie was so boring, and your plot was so poorly developed that they stayed home.
You know, it's funny that you bring up the incel thing too. I think that there's a layer of, now that I'm like thinking about it and talking it out with you more, I think there's a layer of like the kinds of people who were fans of old school and like The Hangover when they came out. That was stuff that was popular when I was like in high school, right? Same. Like high school and college. There's a certain kind of fan of that movie who winds up not becoming a well-adjusted adult like you and I. And those
movies are specifically about not becoming well-adjusted adults. They're about leaving your wedding, leaving your wife, leaving whatever your job so that you can go and try to reclaim what you think is like young toxic masculinity.
Right. And it's this level of like not infantilization, but Peter Pan syndrome-y kind of stunted growth, childhood fantasy kind of shit.
Right.
Played out as an adult, right? And there's people who became fans of that, watching adults do that when they were teenagers and when they were college students.
Right.
And I think some of those people probably turned out to be normal, well-adjusted adults. But there's also probably a lot of those fans of those Todd Phillips movies who grew up physically, like they aged, but they mentally are like still just stuck in that, and they're just like, well, why can't I be the fucking cool guy who does the keg stands and has all the hot girls like me? How come? Why? And then he makes Joker just as the catnip for those people,
right?
And they come back and they're like, oh, I'm the Joker. Oh, it's me. I deserve these things. Well, because I'm the Joker.
Yeah, well, and it's Todd Phillips. What does he deserve? Like, you made a movie that was based on, like, look, this Asian guy has a small dick. Like, that's the level of writing that, okay? Like, that's, you know what I mean? And you happen to have a good actor who made that a shocking moment or whatever. But that's not, like, a great joke anyway. It's not that deep, that interesting. And then you're like, I'm entitled now to do the biggest drama of the year. Like, why?
Right.
Who says? Literally, why? Give it to Ava DuVernay. Let her make the Joker. I would love to see that.
I would love to see that. It's interesting to talk about, I just did the episode about The Dark Knight Rises, and I've said it before. I said it on that episode. I'll say it again right now. Christopher Nolan is the kind of director who's making smart movies for dumb people so that they think they're smart. And Todd Phillips comes from the opposite side of that, I think, where he is, for years, made a bunch of really dumb comedies.
Right.
And I don't say that in a disparaging way because I think there's plenty of room for that, and it's also difficult to do well. And I think that old school.
And a dying craft, I would argue.
Yes.
I feel like there's less movies that are just dumb and you can just enjoy. And I look for that. I'm not against it existing. I mean, I do think that like we could raise the level a little bit.
Right. But like I loved The Hangover. I think even if
at the time it captured its moment.
It captured the moment, and you still have, Zach Galifianakis as Alan is still like an enduring forever character, right? Like I still see people with the beards and wearing the shirts with the baby on them.
Yeah.
You can't escape from an indelible like societal thing like that. But Todd Phillips is trying to escape from that to be an important capital I filmmaker. And that's just go back, man.
Yeah. And
you don't need to be the Pied Piper for incels taking your audience down this road.
Right. He's like, it's time to escalate. We got him to laugh. Now let's get him to cry. I don't know. I don't get it. What a weird and again, just like I don't know. It's like a big franchise. Like you can have anybody who would be like, let this guy do whatever little experiments he wants. Like what? Who says? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I think that
it's mediocrity, and it's a person who feels so entitled to be mediocre wherever they want, and they think that if they don't get to have an audience, they don't get to say whatever they want. Like they're canceled, and it's like maybe you're just not that good,
Right.
I've never heard a comic go, oh, well, everything's so PC these days, and then said anything that was interesting. They could have spent that time writing jokes.
Right. By the way, the comedy in this movie, like the stand-up element, good on Todd Phillips for at least casting real comics.
Yeah.
To do the actual stand-up portion, like Gary Goldman, Chris Redd, Sam Morril.
Sure.
You're picking great comedians.
Sure.
But if anybody's watching this, I hate that somebody boiled it down to like a stand-up comedian goes on a rampage and creates chaos and just like this isn't a stand-up. This is barely an open micer. I've seen open micers journals
that he's on too, which I don't get.
There's never been like that. There's no open mic night at any club in a big city that is well attended like that. Like Gotham must be really fucking hurting for entertainment if there's a packed room at an open mic when there are super rats running the streets.
Right. Crime is so bad and poverty is so bad, but everybody's got all this going out money. And even the worst comedy club has like a really nice lighting set. I mean, we do shows in theaters, like that it has armrests. That it has a light at all.
Yeah. Like, that it has a camera system in the 70s. Right.
Not buying it.
I'm not buying it. I don't buy it at all.
Yeah.
And also, I could argue about the comedy in this movie all day long.
I don't know that you'd have to because there isn't any.
I will say, the most comedic moment is, I still laughed at this when when he kills the guy and then he has the dwarf there and the dwarf can't reach the lock on the door. That's still funny. Because it's like, really you're clearly
sad, scary.
but he's playing, but it's like you're playing this one joke right here and it's like, okay, I see what you're doing.
Right.
I get what you're trying to do. But just stick to doing that.
Sure. But also I think just like people who aren't tall can't reach things is not like the pinnacle. Like it's just descriptive. Like it's not.
Yeah.
Do you know? I mean, it's not like, oh, we're turning it on its head and we're looking at it a different way and we're exploring the human condition. It's just like if you're not tall, you can't reach stuff high up.
Right.
Okay.
This is why, but this is to your point you made earlier too. Dumb comedy is hard to do as an art because you can make, short guy can't reach tall thing. Like, that's not a great comedic premise.
Like, I'm an observational comic and I've observed one thing. You aren't, come on. Like,
it's beyond just like, but not all comedy has to examine the human condition.
Sure.
And not all filmmakers have to examine the human condition either.
Sure. But this is packaged as a thing that does. So, right. I mean, this isn't a thing where they just said, "Oh, we're fucking around."
Sure. I think that's the biggest takeaway that I have from this movie watching it again is like, yeah, there's parts of this movie that I think there's merit. I totally understand why people don't think there's merit. I think that it's a movie that is packaged and presented in such a way where the viewer is supposed to walk away interpreting it how they want. Mm-hmm. Because this movie is supposed to provoke you into feeling whatever. But I don't think it's as artful as a movie that would say, help you feel a specific way.
Right.
Like, there's a difference between just walking out of something and feeling uncomfortable versus feeling a specific, like, layered.
Sure. Like Parasite or something like that.
Yes.
Where it's like, ugh, like that has all of the like cringe intense moments. Mm-hmm. But again, purposefully.
I walked out of Parasite thinking that I went on a journey.
Right.
Emotionally.
You were weathered.
Right. As opposed to, I mean, even, did you ever see Climax?
No, what is it? Is it about
Climax
space?
Is this movie. It's a movie that came out last year it's a Gaspar Noé movie, and it's about a group of dancers who they have this dance rehearsal, and then they have this party afterwards, and somebody spikes their punch with acid, and it's this crazy acid trip of a movie.
Okay.
And it's
kind of dancers?
Like
a
hip hop
crew?
Like a dance crew, yeah.
Okay. Like the Jabberwockies.
Yes, but French.
Okay. Play me on.
Les Jabberwockies. And they have, by the end of this movie, I saw it in theaters, and I felt like I had done drugs again. And I haven't tripped on acid in almost 5 years.
Good.
Right. But that's the thing is, like, for a movie specifically designed to make me feel that.
Right.
And to pull it off, that's hard to do.
Yeah. You were probably like, I can't watch this movie.
I can't. Yeah, I don't want to watch it again. Yeah. But watching the Joker, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll watch it again. Like, Joker is destined to just be played on. Right now it's on HBO, and it's destined to like wind up. If basic cable were still a thing that people watched instead of streaming services, it would just be on AMC or TNT, endlessly running on Saturday afternoons. It's just like the background noise,
right? Totally. That's what it's just tense background noise. And I think, when you're saying like redeeming qualities, it's like it does. What's frustrating about the movie is that it comes right next to conversations that would be interesting. Mm-hmm. And then it runs back away. So it's not that it never, it really does never end up in an interesting place at all. But it creates a world where all of those things exist, and then it just chooses not to explore them. And so it's like edging all the time as to whether it's gonna say anything, and then it never says anything.
This just constantly edging. Our brains never get to come. We never get to talk.
Unlike the film Climax, in which everyone did, I guess. I don't know.
Well, not everybody. Some people died in that movie, but some people. There is. You should watch it. It's a great movie. There's upside down sex. There's people. There's a dead child. There's happiness. There's sadness.
All my favorite stuff. You had me at all those things. Well, and that's the thing too. It's like that I do, and you do. Like I have a very dark sense of humor, so it's not that I don't like the darkness of this stuff. I'm down to go down that sick road to completion. But it just never, it's not, I don't have a problem.
You're right. Like, I'll watch.
I'm not offended. I just think it's stupid, and it minimizes stuff in a way that is useless.
But that's the thing. It's like, I remember, you're spot on with it's like, it's just the idea of a provocative thing, but never actually telling you what you should be provoked into believing or thinking. It's just like, choose your own adventure, but that doesn't mean That's why everybody developed their own conversation about what they thought the movie was going to be like.
I think we give it too much credit. I think it's like when we saw, oh God, what was that show? True Detective. The first season, it was so good because the actors were so good that they took the weird nothingness of dialogue and like actually gave it meaning. Like they built meaning into a thing that didn't have any. And then we realized that guy really didn't actually have anything to say. He was just like writing teenage poetry and then somehow had the right to do it in front of people. And that was it. It all went away, you know? That's what this is.
I think to wrap things up, this is, I think, a great scene to show for it too, is this dancing on the stairs scene that everybody's trying to talk about and recreate. Because I remember when it came out and the movie played and everybody was like, oh, this dancing on the stairs sequence, people were like, oh, this is beautiful. This is when the Joker's finally free. And half the people who liked that movie were like, this is me. I'm free. I'm dancing on a staircase. And then the other half were like, that song was made by a pedophile. This means that he's trying to say this thing about society, and this is bad. And instead it's just, yeah, all right. Why? Maybe it's just a guy in clown makeup dancing weird on a staircase.
That's what I think. I don't think it's anything more. And I think he's learned he's like, if I just dance slightly slower than a person would, it'll look grotesque.
Like, I can dance like this. I'll do it right now.
Okay. You're cast. You got it.
I'm the Joker now.
Boom.
But that's the thing. It doesn't make it...
What is it?
Provocative. It just means you can interpret it however you want. It's a choose your own adventure for your emotions.
Yeah. But I do think that its thumb is on the scale of choosing to be self-indulgent and narcissistic and entitled and unempathetic. Even though, I mean, the positive of the movie is like, empathize with this guy. Well, this guy empathizes with no one. And so it's a trick. It's telling you to use your empathy to shut down your empathy for anyone. So why? Why would we do that? It's not useful. Who wants that?
Todd Phillips wants that, I guess.
He can want it.
Allison, this has been a real fun episode.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for doing this with me. So, we haven't even really talked about it a whole lot, but Allison and I both perform, I guess digitally now, but perform at the Pack Theater. Tell the listeners about what you're doing for the Pack right now and where they can watch you perform.
Yeah, so we have weird stuff now. So I host on Sundays at 7 Pacific time an Animal Crossing improv show, which Jay plays on sometimes as well. And it's all improv in Animal Crossing, streams on Twitch. I also do a show Thursdays called Play Cousins and try to pop into stuff as much as we can. I mean, it's fun that we can all still work together. That's all we're trying to do. Even though I haven't seen you in real life in months.
But we've done shows together, which is
we've done
cool.
a lot of shows together.
Yeah. Lots of Animal Crossing, lots of Power Selling 101.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Oh my God.
Thursdays I do Play Cousins, which is really fun. But yeah, we'll do more shows, I guess.
Yeah, we will. And where can the listeners, do you got socials they can find you on? Should they just go watch what you do for Animal Crossing Improv and Play Cousins at the Pack Twitch? Yeah,
I would do that. Just check it out.
Okay, do that. No social media for Allison.
I mean, if you find me, you find me. But
don't tell Joker fans to find you. They will. They will find you.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, don't tell them my name. Scratch that. This is the last
Allison
thing I need right now.
You can find me. Come find me instead.
Yeah.
I'm at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram. jlightcomedy.com for all of my performance and non-performance info. And if you like the show, tell a friend, subscribe, and join the Blockbusting Patreon, where we're doing more bonus content, more film watches, and all that good stuff. Because we're trapped, and why not just have fun together and watch movies together?
Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna do. Allison, thanks again.
Thank you. This is super fun.
Yeah, This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.